Bonjour, voici vidéo 7b sur l'imparfait, the imperfect past tense in French. This should look familiar to you because we did study this last year. The imperfect past tense is just what it sounds like, a past tense verb that basically means was or were doing something in the past. We'll talk more about the specific meanings of this verb. Right now, let's look at the formation. The formation is very simple. We're going to take the new form of the verb. We're going to drop the ONS and use that as the stem to add the following endings on. For je, the ending is AIS. This is in your textbook. For tu, it's AIS. For il, elle, on, it's AIT. For nous, it's IONS. For vous, it's IEZ. And for il, elle, plural, it's AIENT. That is really an A. Okay, AIENT. How do you pronounce these endings? This is sort of like a boot verb tense because all these endings sound the same. And there's our lovely boot once again. That means that when you pronounce this, it's A. This is also A. This is A. And this is A. This is ion and ie. Nothing new there. So how do we put these endings onto a verb? Well, let's look at a couple examples. In your textbook, they have examples for regular ERs, regular IRs, regular REs, and some irregular forms as well. Let's look at a few. We're going to take the new form and drop the ONS. So let's use the verb regarder. To look for, or to watch. Actually, chercher is to look for, so regarder is to watch. Nous regardons is our new form, right? New present tense. We're going to drop the ONS. And we don't need this anymore either. We're going to drop the new. This is our stem. And to that stem, we're going to add those endings. So how would I say I was watching? I'm going to put je on there for I. And I want the tense, the ending that matches je regardais. I was watching. What about we were watching? Put the new back on. And what's the imperfect ending? IONS, so we can tell it apart from the present tense. Nous regardions. We were watching. Okay, very simple. And there is only one irregular. There's only one irregular. This is nice. And maybe you can guess what that irregular is if you remember, or just because you can guess. There is one form of the verb that does not have an ONS in the new form. Can you remember what that is? Hopefully you said nous sommes, which we don't pronounce the S on the end. Nous sommes. You can't take off an ONS on that. So the irregular stem for the verb être, because this is the verb être, is et. That's your only irregular stem. So when you want to say I was, you say j'étais. How about you were? Let's use vous. Vous étiez. Okay, very simple. Et is your stem because we have no ONS to drop off of that new form. All right, let's look at your textbook for a minute. As you can see, the formation is given there for all the regular verbs and several of the irregulars that we've had, like écrire and croire and prendre. In each case, it's dropping the ONS off of the new form. There it gives you also the endings, which we talked about. Here are some fully conjugated verbs in the imparfait. Let's go through the pronunciation of those. For parler, je parlais. Tu parlais. Il parlait. Hopefully you're pronouncing after me. Nous parlions. Vous parliez. Il parlait. Elle parlait. Let's look at répondre. Je répondais. Tu répondais. Il répondait. Nous répondions. Vous répondiez. Let's do elle. Elle répondait. Être, j'étais. Tu étais. On était. Nous étions. Don't forget your liaison. Vous étiez. And elles étaient. All right, if you flip the page over, at the bottom of the next page, it says l'emploi de l'imparfait. How is the imperfect used? Well, as I said, number 2 is what I put on at the beginning of this segment. Was watching. Was reading. A continuing action in the past, an action that was going on or taking place. That is the most common use. It can also, number 1, describe a condition or state of being in the past. Il faisait chaud et nous étions très fatigués. It was hot and we were very tired. During the period of time that we are discussing, it was hot and we were tired, past tense, going on for an extended period of time in the past. And the third use is where we say used to in English, customary or habitual action in the past. Nous passions nos vacances chaque année en Italie. We used to spend our vacation every year in Italy. Elle faisait souvent du ski nautique au lac. They used to water ski often at the lake. Okay? No matter how you translate this and how you use it, the idea is always the same. You have a continuing action in the past. That is the most common usage of this tense, the imparfait, the imperfect. Turn your page again, à la page 110, and we will do exercise D together. 110. À la ferme. Imagine that what you used to do as a child on your father's farm. Fill each blank with the appropriate form of the imparfait of the verbs in parentheses. So we have avoir there. We want to say I was 10 years old. Avoir, we need our stem and our ending. J'avais 10 ans. Numéro 2. Je me à 7 heures du matin. We have the verb réveiller. I used to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you have je me réveille. That's my stem. And my ending is AIS. Je me réveillais à 7 heures. Numéro 3, je, toujours le premier à me lever. And I want to say I was always the first to get up. So we have être, that's our irregular stem. J'étais. If I'm going too fast for you, go ahead and pause it before I give the answer, okay? There's a lot of them here and I don't want the segment to be too long. Numéro 4. Nous, le petit déjeuner en famille. Prendre. We used to take or we used to eat breakfast as a family, together as a family. So prendre, prenons. So we want nous prenions. We just add that extra I in there. Nous prenions. We used to eat or we used to take. 5. Mon frère a mangé au chat et au chien. And that's our expression to feed the dogs, to give them something to eat, right? The dogs and cats in this case. So we have mon frère. We want donner, donnons, and the right ending for il is AIT, right? Il donnait. 6. Moi, je, ma mère a fait le ménage. And I used to help her do the housework. So we have j'aidais. J'aidais, ma mère. Okay? Numéro 7. Maman et moi, des légumes au jardin. And we used to look for the vegetables in the garden. So maman et moi, what is that? Mom and me. That's we, right? So we need cherche, right? We used to look for. Nous cherchions. Nous cherchions. 8. Je jouais avec nos chatons. And aimer, I used to like to play with a chaton, I think is just cats or kittens or something, right? I'm sorry I didn't look that up ahead of time, guys. You can look that up and let me know on Monday. So we have what for the verb? Stem, ending, right? J'aimais. J'aimais jouer. I used to play. Numéro 9. Toute la famille, un peu après le déjeuner. Dormir. All the family, used to sleep a little bit, take a nap after lunch. So we have dormir. We need to remember the new form. It's not a regular IR verb, so it's not an IS-ISIT. So our stem is dorma. And what was our subject again? Toute la famille. This refers to a group of people, but look at that. It's feminine singular. All the family. So we have to use the feminine singular ending, right? Even though it's actually referring to a group of people. Don't let that throw you. La famille is a singular noun. So we have dormez. 10. Le soir, je les fleurs arrosées. So we have regular ER verb, arroser. That's your stem, and that's your ending. Numéro 11. Papa, des graines aux poules et aux coqs jetés. So he used to throw some grains of food to the chickens and the rooster. Jeter. Papa. Jeter. Ooh, I think I forgot a T. Nope, we're good. Jeter. And 12, je les œufs. Ramasser, I used to gather the eggs. So ramasse. And our ending, AIT. Okay, 13. Le soir, ma mère nous une histoire biblique. My mother used to read us, a Bible story. So we have mother reading us. Us is the object. So our subject is ma mère. We have lisez. Et numéro 14. Papa, avant de nous dire bonne nuit and prier. Father used to pray with us before saying good night. So we have the verb prier. Il. That's your stem, right? And here's your ending. Looks kind of funny, but il priait. He used to pray with us before bed. All right, this is the imperfect. It is pretty simple so long as you take the time to memorize your forms. That is very important, right? Sorry for that pause there. I wanted to go back and double check the meaning of the verb arroser, which is to water. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if it was to pick or to water. So in this case it was I used to water the flowers. I wanted to make sure I gave you that one because that's a different verb that you don't see very often. All right, that concludes the audio segment on the imparfait. Au revoir.